Happy National Championship Monday, everybody. We've got a mock draft Monday for you, talking all things NFL draft. National championship players playing tonight for Notre Dame and Ohio State, who could be fits on the New York Jets. Let's friggin' roll, baby.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Yeah,
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your friggin' podcast. And we're all decked out in full Notre Dame gear, baby, because we've got the national championship tonight between the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Ohio State Buckeyes. On a very special Mock Draft Monday edition of today's show, we'll take a break from the wildness of the GM and head coach search, and we'll talk about some of the big stars playing at tonight's game that are draft eligible. Which one should you be paying attention to for the New York Jets? We'll be talking about that with our very special draft analyst, Namsi, who joins us every Monday here on the channel. But before we get there, a couple of notes and quotes. First off, like the video, hit subscribe on your way in. We'd really appreciate it. God bless. And a special shout out to the Boy Green Coffee Club. I see my Uncle Stevie in here. Go Irish, baby. We're all fired up for tonight. It's going to be a goodie. It absolutely will be. First off, I'd like to give a special shout out. Happy 32-year anniversary to my parents. Today's their 32-year anniversary. Hopefully my pop can get away for some national championship later, but spend plenty of time with my wonderful mother. So a 32-year anniversary shout out. Let's show this up on the screen real quick. A quick little diatribe here. Quick little detour on the thing. Look at this. This is in Ohio. Here are my parents. Here's my parents together. My dad rocking the old Sir Charles Barkley jersey. There's my mom. Ah, yes. Happy 32-year anniversary. Wonderful parents. Can't say enough good things about them, and it's amazing. It's amazing. 32 years. 7:32 a.m., 32 years. There you go from my parents. I love my parents, my mom and dad. There you go. Happy 32-year anniversary to the parents. Appreciate it. Also, guys, I wanted to say this at the beginning of the show. So, of course, we have our normal contest that's going on. Let me flip that banner right at the beginning of the show. This is our Board Green raffle board. Number one is our number one Austrian Jet fan. He's gifted 158 memberships this month. Jimmy Jets at 112. J-Boy at 65. For Lily and Big D jumping into fourth place with 41 gifted memberships. And Devin, excuse me. I was about to say Devon. Devin, DNY for life with 38 gifted memberships. Every membership you gift here on the channel, you get a raffle ticket to our contest and our giveaway at the end of the month. So, again, you can purchase yourself a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. That counts. That's in the YouTube description down below. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. It's only $2.99. It's a way to support the show, and you get all kinds of cool perks, including access to our Discord channel. You can also access our mailbag. When we have big-time guests here on the show, and we confirm that, we'll allow you to ask some of those questions to some of those star guests. So take full advantage of that if you guys can. You guys can also gift memberships if you're watching on YouTube. That's youtube.com/boygreen25. If you're watching on YouTube, you see a little money sign by where you're commenting. Click on that. The final option is gift channel memberships, and you can gift Boy Green Coffee Club memberships to all of your fellow viewers. And it's done at random, but YouTube rewards the people that are most interactive with the channel, liking videos, commenting, things of that nature, and they randomly kind of pull from that bag and gift those memberships out to the great universe. Just like this from our number one Austrian Jet fan, baby. Whoop. Here we go, gifting 5 memberships right off the top rope here on a Monday. Absolutely beautiful. Let's read those 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Here we go. Joseph Freeman, Uptown Sports TV, Jimbo and Soldiers of God, and Mahar Khalil, all now 5 members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, and that increases our number one Austrian Jet fan to 163 memberships gifted so far this month by far the first place leaderboard, which is absolutely terrific. And let's update that as well. And there is 163 members as well. And I want to say this, because our next big goal, people, for those who are out there, is getting to 10,000 subscribers. Now, you got to chip away. At the start of business hours here today, we have 7,208 subscribers, and I want to reward you guys for spreading the good word of Boy Green Daily. So the more subscribers we get, the more rewards I'm going to give you guys. For instance, when we get to 8,000 subscribers, I'm going to give one lucky subscriber something that was autographed by 2 former New York Jets first-round picks. I got a nice little piece of memorabilia. It's signed by 2 former New York Jets first-round picks, and I'll throw a T-shirt in as well. That when we reach 8,000 subscribers. So how can you do that? Tell your Jets fans, fellow fans, tell your family to subscribe to the channel, share the link out. And again, once we get to 8,000, one lucky subscriber will win that awesome prize pack. And that's in addition to what we're already doing for the raffle giveaway at the end of the month, which, by the way, let's give another shout out there. That will include the Aaron Rodgers Nike Atmosphere jersey. I'll throw this up on the screen real quick. And the $50 Boy Green merch shop gift card. And behind number one Austrian Jet Fans membership there is the custom laser engraving. So that's going to one lucky winner at the end of this month's contest. But in addition to that, once we reach 8,000 subscribers, again, I'm going to be giving away a piece of New York Jets memorabilia signed by 2 former New York Jets first-round picks, just as a way to say thank you to the fans. So we'll be doing that at different milestones as we attempt to get to 10,000 subscribers. So again, a special shout out to all of you guys, and that is available for you. With that being said, let's get to our special guest here on a Monday. He joins us every Monday here on the channel. That is our draft analyst, Dom C, baby. And make sure you subscribe to his channel. That is in our YouTube description down below. There's a direct link right to his channel where he talks all thing Jets and draft, Project Prospect with Dom C. Again, there is a direct link to his YouTube channel in our comments section. And today it's Happy National Championship Day. Let's bring him in. Dom C, our draft analyst here on the program. Good morning, Dom C.
Paul, how are you, bud?
I'm good, man. Hey, by the way, do you have any rooting interest in the game tonight?
Yeah, I'll be rooting for Notre Dame. I always root, I'm not going to say I grew up a Notre Dame fan.
Okay.
They were prominent when I was young. Who was Tony Rice? Was that his name? I mean, I'm going back to when I was a real kid, little option based quarterback, and Rocket Ismail and so on and so forth. So
there you go.
I've always liked Notre Dame. I'm not going to say I was always like the hugest fan. I was always more of a fan of college football players until I met my bride, my wife, and her and every single member of her family are University of Florida Gator graduates. So I am
I hear that.
Yeah, I'm a Gator transplant. So I root for the Gators.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yes, I'll be rooting for Notre Dame for sure.
There you go. One
tough
for the
sledding.
good guys.
Tough sledding for sure.
It could be, yeah. That's what a lot of people are saying. If the Irish are going to win, it's going to take a Herculean effort to make it happen. NC is saying Notre Dame is getting 9.5 right now. So there's your current line with all your Rudy chants. We appreciate it. So what we wanted to do, me and Dom C, again, he'll be joining us, and he has every Monday through the draft, is there will be a theme to each episode. And today's theme makes plenty of sense. It's a national championship game tonight. So a little bit of that juice with the draft eligible prospects. We'll pick some people from both sides and potential Jets draft fits, and just in general where those guys can potentially go in the class. And let's start with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, baby. And Riley Leonard, he's obviously a smart kid. He went to Duke and came over here to Notre Dame. And boy, he is tough as balls there, Thompson. He's throwing his body recklessly all over the place. Like I said, he seems like a smart kid. What else can you tell us about Riley Leonard, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish starting quarterback?
Yeah. Riley Leonard, I mean, he's got almost, if not more than 40 games, under his belt. Most of them as a starter, early in his career as a rotational player. And I think you said it, I think you said it pretty well. Like, the guy has little disregard for his physical well-being. I mean, he just goes balls to the wall. So, for those who don't know, he's a defensive lineman. He's a little bit on the smaller side, in terms of, the weight, he's probably going to measure in a tick. Hopefully he's been packing on the pounds, but they're still practicing, they're still playing, so he hasn't had a time to bulk gain or anything like that. So he's going to be pushing only around 295, 300 pounds, if that, at 6'5". So he's got a different build for a interior defensive lineman.
Wait, are we talking about Riley Leonard here?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Riley Mills. I apologize.
Oh no,
I was talking about Riley Mills, the defensive tackle.
Oh no, that's okay. I was like, good Lord, wow, Riley has really been packing on the Twinkies.
I'm sorry. I was thinking Riley Mills, the defensive tackle for Notre Dame. I apologize.
No, that's okay. No, yeah, Riley Leonard, the quarterback. Yeah.
Well, he's not as big. He's not pushing 300 pounds, Paul.
No. I was like, wow, okay,
So
I appreciate that.
Riley Leonard is, he's an interesting one. Listen, here's the reality: I'm not sure. And I'll be blunt up front, and then I'll give you my my breakdown of him. I'm not sure he's a draftable quarterback. A lot of things have to go right for Riley Leonard to be drafted. Like, you think of Sam Hartman last year. I actually think that they're pretty comparable. I mean, Riley Leonard is definitely much more of an athlete. Much more of an athlete. And he's got the size. And I think he's at 6'4". He's a little bit lean at about 210 pounds. Definitely would need to bulk up. I think he's got good, not elite, but good arm strength. He's mechanically, he's pretty good. Like I said, he's got that big, sturdy build, quick release. He can make, he can make a lot of the throws. He's not very adventurous with his quarterback play, if you will, especially like in terms of having that gunslinger mentality or really going for it or throwing those real tight windows. He takes the safe plays, check down Charlie, if you will. I mean, Notre Dame, Paul, you watch them. I know your dad's a big Notre Dame fan.
Yeah.
They're built to run the ball right down your stinking throat. And, like Riley Leonard offers a little bit, he offers a little improvisation. The ability to move his feet and break contain and do stuff off platform or out of the pocket. Again, he's a good athlete. I just don't know if he checks all the boxes in terms of, true pocket presence quarterback play. He's, his accuracy is wonky at best. He's had some days where he's really good, but you move anything, to 10 or 15 yards and it takes, 10 or 15 yards down the field, and his overall accuracy, it takes a big dip. Similar to, what's funny is similar to Daniel Jones. I'm not comparing the two, but similar to Daniel Jones. Riley Leonard is very accurate. He's got a really nice deep ball, but you're not going to make it a living in the NFL, throwing, deep 9 routes and check downs for a career. You kind of got to do stuff in the intermediate and in between the hashes. And that's just where Riley Leonard lacks. And like I said, he's very ho-hum. When you think about a big, strapping, strong, very, very athletic guy that Leonard is, you don't expect to have that, game manager moniker tied to him. And that's kind of the game he plays. He's like, he's built like a Ferrari with a Honda Accord engine inside.
That's well said. He's been, believe it or not, Dom C. I don't know if it's because we have a lot of Notre Dame Jets transplants here on the channel, but there's been a lot of chatter about Riley Leonard this year as we're going through the season. And people, Jet fans, have asked me, Paul, Notre Dame guy, Jet guy, like, oh man, Riley Leonard could be our next guy. And I'm like, it's just hard for me to answer because obviously I love Notre Dame and I love what Riley Leonard is providing us. He's giving us the best of what he has.
Yeah.
But I just, I love the toughness, diving, throwing his body all over the place, being a human battering ram, for goodness sake. But then I just go, it's hard for me to see it at the NFL level.
Yeah.
And plus, to your point, I mean, he doesn't have the beautiful locks of Sam Hartman, and even those locks didn't get him very high in the draft. Now, did it last year, despite all the hubbub about him? And I saw him floating around the Washington Commanders practice squad. Not sure if he's still there.
I believe he is. I believe he is on the practice squad.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
but Leonard is.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, it makes a lot of sense. They had championship fiber. Notre Dame's in the national championship game. Washington Commanders are in the NFC championship game because they have Sam Hartman on the team.
Yeah, there it is. So I think that Riley Leonard, his game film last year at Duke was immensely better than this year. Again, you transfer, you get the, he's playing for a national championship. So I'm not going to say he made the wrong decision. But I think this offensive scheme was the wrong scheme to really benefit or put his skill set in the light. Like, you put him in a Caden DeBurr, RPO based offense where he's got one read and he hits it and he can, do all that. I think that's probably his better fit. He's the Dollar General version of Daniel Jones, man. And we know how the real Daniel Jones went.
That we do. We do. By the way, a shout out real quick here. We got Jimmy Jets gifting 20 Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. We appreciate it, Jimmy Jets. Very giving on National Championship Monday. Real quick, we'll reveal those 20 names here. Jersey Jet, Gaming with Chris, Franklin Fung, Connor Long, NY Jets Flight Talk over there, AD83, Brian Edwards, Robert Heenan, T-Town Jet, Why Me the Jets fan, Bobbleneck, Nick Russo, Lucky Luke, Frank, Kickin' Pickles, Cuca Lake Jet fans, Mark Reese, the Big Fella, Snoopy, Tom Ruck, and Judda. You guys are all now members to Boy Green Coffee Club. Shout out to our boy Jimmy Jets for gifting that those 20 memberships. Excuse me. The leaderboard has been updated down below. So Riley Leonard, interesting guy. We'll see what happens. Again, good luck to him tonight. Let's go to the other Riley you thought we were talking about earlier. The other side of the line of scrimmage there for the Irish.
Yeah, Riley Mills. Let's try take two. He's the one who's pushing 300 pounds, probably a tad lighter. Long build, not your traditional, you think of defensive lineman, right? Yeah. When I think defensive lineman, you think like, these short, little stocky, big fat guys. And that's just not Riley. That's not Riley Mills, body type. Now, the positive is that he might have, he has the frame where he can pack on some solid weight. And I think it might do him some justice. Like I said, over 40, played in over 40 games in his career. Thought he was going to come out last year, but he didn't. Both of the Notre Dame interior guys went back. Mills is long. He strong build. He moves very quick. He's got a good first step. He can move up and down the line laterally. Does a good job. Shedding and getting skinny and getting through blocks. For a guy who's 6'5", the thing that I think impressed me most was, you always see him involved either in a stalemate or winning that leverage battle. So he gets himself, low. He plays with a nonstop motor. And like I said, he's got a frame that you can put weight on. Now, I don't know, the thing with Riley Mills is, he's a 100% heart, high motor guy. I'm not sure if where his true skill set is, right? He doesn't really have an evolved or large array, I should say, of, pass rush skills. It's kind of bull rush and just extend those long arms, keep the offensive lineman off his chest and read and shed. He's not very bendy. He doesn't, offer, I don't think he'll offer a lot, especially early on in pass downs. And he's still a little bit too light in the ass to offer too much on early downs. So, this might be a guy who is taken and, kind of takes a year or two to really, get in, cut his teeth, get some solid NFL weight on and develop a little bit more. He's going to need to fall into the right scheme. I think it's an even man front where he can play, three tech. I think he's no, he could probably also play in an odd man front as a defensive end, but I think he'd need to get a little bit stronger. He's a day 3 guy. He's a 5th round pick in the sense as we talk here in January, in that range where he's going to be developmental, but there's a lot to like in terms of the physical specimen that he is and the heart that he plays with. So that's Riley Mills in a nutshell.
Yeah, and for folks, again, as the Jets still await to find out who the hell their GM and head coach is going to be, we may have some movement on that this week by all reports. That also indicate what kind of defense are the Jets running. 4-3, 3-4, who's here, who's there. That also will give us some intel, obviously, on the types of players potentially the Jets will be looking for, both from a pro personnel standpoint, but also from the college NFL draft as well. There's a lot of defensive guys for Notre Dame that are intriguing. And one of them was in the YouTube thumbnail, and I saw people bringing him up earlier. One of my favorite guys on the team, Xavier Watts, the defensive back for Notre Dame. He's a fun player.
He's a fun player. He's always been a fun player, right? He actually came into Notre Dame. I think it was the COVID year. I'm not sure if he's 23, 24, but I think he started his COVID year. And Paul, you'll probably remember he was recruited and came in as a wide receiver.
That's correct.
And moved to the other side of the ball. I guess it was 21, and he didn't see a lot of time. He was still transitioning, but he made his name in Notre Dame really on how he plays special teams, which I think is important. All right, because we're going to talk about him as a player, and the guy's a top 50 player in my eyes. Wholeheartedly, he's going to be
all right.
Probably early in the second round is where I'm guessing, like I said.
Oh, wow.
But you're not only getting a guy who can, come in and hopefully play right away on defense, but you're getting an elite level, special teamer, a gunner, all that stuff that he really cut his teeth and learned how to play defense by, contributing on special teams in Notre Dame. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about Xavier Watts, and speaking specifically for the Jets, Xavier Watts is everything we ever hoped for in a safety, right?
Yeah.
He's got that, really, really fast. He's got elite speed. Again, former wide receiver. So, he's got really good athleticism. He's got, he could stop and go. He can, swing and got those buttery hips that he can flip open and run. But he's a ball hawk, man. The guy is just a machine. He's got a nose for the ball. He understands often, like the benefit of being a wide receiver and coming into college and being recruited and playing wide receiver is that he understands route concepts and he knows how and he knows situationally how and when to read and break on the ball. And he's always putting himself in a position. He arguably the biggest ball hawk of all these defensive backs, corners, or safeties, in this class. And you tie that in with, like I said, you tie that in with the athleticism that he has. You tie that in with the versatility that he can offer, because you can play him in single high, you can play him in a two high post. He can come up and play in the box, even in some. He can play the slot. He can cover. He's a guy that can stick with tight ends, especially these new up and coming athletic tight ends. He's got a build at 205 pounds, just under 6'1", that he can do that. So he's a guy that's going to really check off a lot of boxes and fit the defense, in no matter what kind of role you want or what kind of role you expect your defensive backs to play. Xavier Watts is just that, that kind of chess piece that can do it all. Now, his game does not come perfect. There are some warts. He's definitely, again, remember, he's only been playing on the defense side of the ball for mainly 3 years. He learned year one, and then he's been playing 3 years. So tackling isn't he's physical. He'll come in there and he'll hit you, but too many missed tackles over his career. I think, let me see if I got it here. I definitely do.
Yeah, right.
Let's see. Xavier Watts, an 18.8% missed tackle rate last year. Yeah.
God.
The angles is something that he doesn't take well. Also, again, Jets
So you
fans
think
do.
that's lack of football knowledge?
Yeah,
Some of that angle
I don't.
stuff? Okay.
I just think, it's not something that I think is just inbred in him. I just think
Right,
it's
just an
him.
innate second
Yeah,
nature sort of thing.
I just think it's he's still learning to play a position he's been doing for 3 years.
Yeah.
But we've experienced that with Ashton Davis, and then we started to
Sure,
experience
exactly.
it with Tony Adams last year.
Mhm.
The safety's got to be able to come up and fit the run and do it. With you're in essence the last line of defense. So too many missed tackles. Really, really, lackluster angles of pursuit. That's the stuff that I think he's going to need to do. Need to work on, and he gets a bit handsy in his man coverage when he's asked, when he's in the slot or so on and so forth. So, listen, that's something that can be coached out of it. It's a lot of these guys. What people don't realize is, you're taught to play man defense with your hands. You're taught to grab to an extent, but you got to know when to, you got to know when to roll. You got to know when to fold. As Kenny Rogers said, and we learned that with Sauce Gardner. Like, they're just some of these guys that are just physical want to put their hands on you, and he gets a little too grabby at times. So, little things, little quirks that I think need to get improved. But if you want a guy that can force turnovers, Xavier Watts is your guy.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And the Jets having their second-round draft choice this year, they're in their early 40s. That would certainly make a lot of sense if that were to happen for the New York Jets in the second round of the draft. Again, we're speaking to Dom C., our draft analyst, Project Prospect with Dom C. Direct link in the YouTube description. Also, his Twitter, DC_NY Jets, baby. Make sure you follow him on social media as well. He'll be joining us throughout the draft cycle as we build up to the 2025 NFL draft. Again, we have the national championship game tonight. Now, Dom, last year, we were all in the classroom together, and I think you checked the like box on a former Notre Dame corner named Cam Hart. Do you have the same loving feelings for one Benjamin Morrison?
So Benjamin Morrison is so talented, but he hasn't played all season. So that's the big thing, is that you're basing a lot of what Benjamin Morrison did on, his true sophomore year projection. Because remember, young kid just turned 21 this month, young kid. So you're basing your film. I'm basing my film study not on film that he did this year as a true junior, but what he did as a sophomore. But man, there's a lot to like in Benjamin Morrison. One of the highest, I didn't know this. He was one of the highest, rated high school recruits in that Notre Dame took as a defensive back. Yeah. Pretty interesting. His dad, he's got the lineage. I guess his dad played safety for a little while in the league. I think his mom was an athlete. So, he's got it cut in him. He was a freshman All-American. Started right out of the gate in 2022. 2023, I think he started to really break out. When you talk about guys that can move, he is explosive. His footwork's elite, and but he doesn't look like you just watch some guys on you watch football a lot, Paul. You just see some guys when they're moving, they're just so smooth. It doesn't look like they're moving fast, but they're at like a light speed, and that's exactly how he plays. Like I said, great in the back pedal, can sink his hips, can click and close out of that real good. Also a guy with ball skills. I think he's probably best fit. If I circled any guys on this Notre Dame team, I know everyone's gonna veer towards Xavier Watts. And again, it's hard to say without having a head coach or defense coordinator, but let's just play along and say, like the same kind of concept and scheme that we ran with Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich were in play, where we played a lot of cover 4, a lot of off, and a lot of zone. He would be the guy that I would target to fill in that DJ Reed spot. Now, where I would take him, and that's a whole nother episode. But he's that guy. He's got those own eyes. Like I said, he does a good job anticipating, plays with anticipation, breaks on the ball, plays with aggression coming downhill.
Yeah.
All that stuff is good. Again, not the strongest guy, gonna be about 6 feet tall, gonna be about 190 pounds. So he's not the biggest, not the tall, not the strongest. Definitely not the greatest tackler on the boundary. Definitely a dive at your knees kind of guy. And I don't know where his long speed is going to end up coming in. In the those metrics, the 40-yard stuff like that. He could probably be like a high 4.4, low 4.5 guy, which is adequate, but it's not elite in the NFL. But again, I think the way he moves and his quickness and his athleticism in short area burst really makes up for that. So yeah, Benjamin Morrison. Cam Hart was my guy. I think Cam Hart was a different type of receiver. Cam Hart, I thought, was a guy that got up there and got nasty and pressed man. You're not going to want Benjamin Morris pressing up against AJ Brown or any of these bigger type X build receivers. But in the right scheme, I think he has a clear upside to be cornerback one on the team.
All right, before we transition to Ohio State, because we're really highlighting the national championship teams tonight and their draft-eligible prospects, if you guys have super chat, member shout-outs, or anything of that nature, you could send those in, and we'll ask those to Dom C. We have this from Delusional Jet Fan. Every time I get a super chat, we hear from my daughters, Ryan Luna.
Wow.
Delusional Jets fan here says, Dom, how do you feel about Deon Walker from Kentucky?
So, again, like Benjamin Morrison, I wish you asked me that last year, Delusional, because I would have told you that he was a lock-in top 10 player in the class. I think this year he just wasn't very good. And I'm just keeping it real. This is my opinion.
I appreciate that.
I don't think he played very well. Glenn Naughton from Jet Nation, who I'm close friends with. He and I always, banter back and forth on the phone or on text about prospects, and Deon Walker was like his guy. You talk about draft crushes, like that was this guy. He's been talking about him for years, and he even said to me, he's like, listen, he's like, if I had to guess, he's like, I'm guessing that he was playing with an injury this year because he looked like a shell of what he was. Now, interesting, he is related to Trayvon Walker. I found that out yesterday.
Oh, really?
Only.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's some good lineage, but man, he's a big boy. 6'6.5", 346 pounds.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, he's a true power threat interior, heavy hands. He's gonna knock a lot of strong interior linemen right off of their spot with those blows. But he moves pretty well for a guy that big. He plays a lot lighter than 355 pounds. Knows how to use those heavy hands, hand fights really well. I just saw, like I said, at being that big, he loses the leverage battle. You figure a guy that big could kind of eat and take on double teams, and you saw him really just get walloped. And there's not a lot of guys one-on-one that are going to match him strength. So double teaming him is something that a lot of teams did a lot this year. But you didn't like to see it, so there's some questions about like that anchor and if he's that big and firing up right, like he's never going to make it in the NFL. And you saw a lot of that. And the thing that was most disappointing for me is that you just saw like a lack of any sort of motor, right? Like, sure, if a play comes to him and, he makes a play, that's wonderful. But if the play is away from him, or if he's getting, if there's a down block and a double between the guard and the center, something like that, he'll just wash himself out, or just turn his back and kind of whatnot. So, I currently have him as a late day 2, early day 3 guy. I think that there's going to be interest in him because of his size, and hopefully somebody can find that fire in him. So that's Deon Walker.
I appreciate that. Shout out Delusional Jet Fan for being a member for the Boy Green Coffee Club for 3 months. We appreciate that. Also, a birthday, Mr. Fulton Mraz here. Morning, Paul. Today's my 26th birthday. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Mr.
buddy.
Fulton. Yeah, thanks for supporting the channel. We appreciate it. Let's jump over to Ohio State now. Riddle me this here. He's also on the YouTube thumbnail of this video. The Jets' offensive line, and this is for the first time in a long time, is really intact. 4 of the 5 are under contract that are expected to be starters for next season are under contract. The only one that's up in the air is Morgan Moses at right tackle. I'm curious, is Josh Simmons the best tackle in this class? Could he be the option at 7 if the Jets just want to say, you know what, we're just going to close and slam the offensive line door right now, and we're going to go boom, boom, boom. We have our starting 5. Let's rock and roll heading into 2025 and beyond.
Okay, so there's multi levels of that question I'm going to answer.
Yes.
Do I think Josh Simmons is the best tackle in the class? Yes.
Ooh,
Do I think he'll be the first tackle taken? No.
Okay.
Again, another guy like Benjamin Morrison. Benjamin Morrison missed the whole season last year because of that hip surgery. He had that torn labrum in his hip that he had repaired, so on and so forth. 4 games into the season, Josh Simmons tore his patella tendon in his knee. So he's going to have to prove that he is healthy and that knee is stable and so on and so forth, which is why I tend to think that there's other tackles, maybe Armand Membu out of Missouri, maybe Kelvin Banks out of Texas, maybe Josh Connerly out of Oregon that'll go before him. But to answer your question, I think, Josh Simmons on film, technically, physically, is the best tackle in the class. Now, would I take Josh Simmons at 11? No. Well, I wouldn't take
7,
any of these. Or 7, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'd take any of these offensive linemen at 7. It would be...
Really? Wow, okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a down year in tackle for me. I think the guards are much better than the tackles, and you better find an all pro. You better find your Quentin Nelson if you're taking a guard in the top 7. But Josh Simmons, transfers from San Diego State, started as a right tackle, moved over to Ohio State as a left tackle. Length, strength, very vicious, very sturdy anchor, good run blocker, kind of displaces defensive linemen right off of their spots. He's really smart, not penalized a lot during his at least during the 5 games that he had this year. The year before was that was a different story. He got caught a lot with some holding stuff. Has a tendency to kind of fire his hands out a little low and wide, and when a guy's running and your hands are outside of him, whether you're holding him or not, the refs are going to see it as a hold. So there's that. So but yeah, I think Josh Simmons has to first prove that he's healthy. Second, he's probably going to need to put on a little bit weight. But what I like about him is that he has experience on both left and right tackle. So whatever team drafts him, you can then, take him and plug him in at whatever hole you have. I think he's definitely got the chops if you wanted him to play inside as well. But he's more of, he to me, I think he's more fit towards that power gap scheme kind of thing. Not a guy who's, there's better movement, there's better athletes, there's better movers in space in this class, that would really fit that wide zone scheme offensive style. Josh Simmons is your lunch pail, like guy in front of me, I'm going to move guy in front of me kind of blocker.
That's a good way to be. I do like that. Let's go to the other side of the line of scrimmage here. This is a plan that we've already heard. Again, obviously, I don't know. It's different for everybody, I guess, how early in draft season is for different people, because obviously you've been doing it all year long. But Ricky New York, I'll give him a shout out here, Ricky New York Live. His plan for the Jets has been, hey, you're there at 7. You trade back a decent amount, and then you go after Tyleik Williams. And then boom, that's the plan. First off, what do you make of that idea? And then tell us a little bit more about Tyleik Williams.
I love the idea. But the question is that there's
takes 2 to tango, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. So who are people trading up for? But that's for a different story. I digress. Like Tyleik Williams, is a really good player. And to me, you talk about this defensive line class, and I think we talked about it last week, Paul, where I talked about Mason Graham, how I think he's a good player. I'm not knocking Mason Graham, as constituted for the Jets in our old scheme. Like, I don't know if Mason Graham is a good fit next to Quinnen Williams. I think he's a good replacement or a similar player to Quinnen Williams. That's not the case with Tyleik Williams. I think Tyleik Williams has the body size that he can play one. Even though he played mostly three tech, I'm talking about in Ohio State. I think he's got the chops and the size that he can hang as a one tech. He's pushing about 330 at 6'3". Again, big body. He's got that ability to eat double teams. He's got the power in his hips. He can anchor down. I like the fact that he, again, not only has that sturdy anchor, but he's got those big, powerful hands. So he's dominant at the line of scrimmage. Again, another guy, bigger, but can fire low and win that leverage battle. I think he's a menace to quarterbacks, because I think for a guy that big, you don't expect to have such a good arsenal of pass rush technique. So he's in quarterback's face all the time. Arguably maybe in the top three true disciplined run defenders in this class, like understands gap integrity and stays with it. Yeah, you definitely need that. I think he, maybe he's going to start out as a 2-down player before he develops it. Again, there's guys that are bigger, stronger, and more explosive, and I think those are the guys that are going to go early. Do I think Tyleik Williams has a chance to go in the first round? I do. I'd probably put him in that same range of, I think I have him as a top 30, top 35 player, but you can safely say, like Xavier Watts, he's going to be a top 50 draft pick once it's all said and done. So.
Well, this national championship game is featuring a ton of talented draft-eligible prospects. Let's throw one more in here before we get you out of here, Dom C. Ohio State has really become wide receiver U with Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr., and it sounds like we got another one that will try to continue that tradition, is the Ohio State wide receiver that is coming out in the 2025 class. Does he deserve, using that word, does he deserve to be in that same class? What's the draft stock for one Emeka Egbuka?
Oh, man. Definitely, arguably, my favorite receiver in the class. He didn't grade the highest. Ted McMillan had him by a hair, but he did grade out as my second wide receiver. There's just not a lot to dislike about Emeka Egbuka. I think, he is the best route runner in the class. I think that plays a lot. He's savvy. He knows how to, he can get out of his breaks really quick. He can set up defenders really quick. He did most of his work from the slot, but at 6'1" and change, 205, if you needed to play him on the outside as a Z or a flanker, I think he could do it. I don't know if he's got the true strength and body, body size and build to be an X out there, but I think he's got inside outside versatility. The guy is just a dog. He's when he's mirroring out, when he's mirroring D-backs or blocking out in the flank or in the perimeter, he's a really strong piece to your run game. He'll down block, on defensive ends. He'll down block on linebackers and decleat them. Like, he's physical like that. He understands football. He understands how to be the quarterback's best friend and find those soft spots in the zone. I don't know if he's gonna, if he's gonna toast. He's not Tyreek Hill. I don't know if he's gonna, burn you with his long speed, but he's a guy that can win. They said the same things about Puka Nacua. A lot of the same things that I just said about Emeka Egbuka, they said about Puka Nacua. Well, he's going to be a slot. He's not, he's going to be a 4-5 guy. He's not going to have the speed to last in the NFL. Puka Nacua is doing pretty good. And I think Emeka Buka is better and more advanced of a wide receiver at this point in their careers than Puka Nacua was. My comp to him is Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you can get a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown. To me, I know I'm in the minority here, and the guys in the chat are going to probably like he's definitely in the equation. He's definitely in the conversation for me at 7.
Wow, really?
I think so. I absolutely do.
Unbelievable. Okay.
Yep.
That's compelling. Hey,
you got to remember
Dom,
a couple years ago. I'm sorry, and then I'll let you go.
Go ahead.
He was on the field with Olave, Wilson, and Jigba,
Right.
so on and so forth. And they all said, hands down, Emeka Buka was the best receiver. He battled some injuries last year, didn't have a great season. And this year, he was overdone by the freshman over there, Jeremiah Smith. He's nasty too. So, he's a legit player. He's gonna make a name for himself in the NFL really quick. Again, will he ever be a 110 catch, 1,800 yard, is he ever going to have one of those years? Probably not. He might be a really, really good wide receiver too, but you put him and Garrett back on the field together. And now I'm talking strictly Jets. Like there's probably no pairing that I like better for an offense than those two.
Well, that's super exciting. Tom, before we get you out of here, do you still have your normal busy Monday today, even on National Championship Monday?
Yeah, so I am actually tonight I'll be with the kid. I'm hopping on with Connor early on, and then
beautiful.
And then Ryan and I on the Talking Jets Network will do our 9:00 Talking Jets draft show. We'll probably delve into some of these prospects. We'll probably start it talking, the ad nauseum about the head coach GM. I just can't wait for that to end. Just not because I want a GM and a head coach, but I just can't talk about it anymore. It's getting
been
too
pretty
much.
nauseating. I get you. And do we have a 10:00 mock tonight?
No, we haven't started yet. We'll start that once we get back from Mobile. I will not be here next week. Beautiful. Just a reminder to you, Paul. Be traveling down to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. Hopefully, we'll be able to link up during that week, and I can give you some juicy content. That'd
be great. Juicy is the better, baby. So enjoy the trip down to Mobile next week, Dom. Again, we'll link up and see what times work best for you that week, and we'll do some shows together. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks as always for all the content, my friend.
Yeah, you got it, pal. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. You guys, make sure you follow him on Twitter at DC_NYJets. Also, again, there's a direct link to his YouTube channel, Project Prospect with Dom C. Plus all those shows. Connor Long, NY Flight Jets Talk. Make sure you guys check him out later tonight as well. And then, again, the Talking Jets Network. That's the NYJ Draft Show tonight at 9:00, baby. We'll stay on. We'll answer more of your questions and commentary and everything else that's coming up here on the program. Again, another reminder, like the video, hit subscribe. We've got 500 people in the room. And if you're watching on any other platform, we stream live on Facebook and Twitter on top of YouTube as well. People, we're doing a special giveaway as my next big chase. Of course, more members are always great. I love when people join the Boy Green Coffee Club and become a part of the family. But the free way for everyone to contribute, no matter what your financial situation is subscribing to the channel. And to incentivize you, if you weren't incentivized enough already, I'm going to be, once we hit certain mile markers, I'm going to be just doing giveaways for free to just whoever subscribes to the channel. And when we reach 8,000, at the beginning of the show, we're at like 7,206 or something. So we're like 700 people away. But once we get to 8,000 subscribers, again, that's just free. You just click subscribe to get my feed, my channel in your feed, excuse me. We are going to be giving away a piece of Jets memorabilia that's been autographed by 2 former New York Jets first-round picks. Plus, I'm going to throw a shirt in there as well. So those 2 items will be gifted for free to one lucky subscriber once we reach 8,000 subscribers here on the YouTube channel, baby. So make sure you guys subscribe, and you can spread the word. Tell your Jets friends. Tell your Jets family, anyone, or just share out the YouTube link on your social media and ask people to subscribe, because that contest, like I said, is available for any subscriber. old subscribers and new subscribers alike will have a chance to win that. So make sure you do. That's on top of what we have going on this contest. We're giving away an Aaron Rodgers Nike Atmosphere jersey, a $50 Boy Green merch shop gift card, plus the custom laser engraving, which has Boy Green logos and Jets logos infused together on commemorative coins, license plate, and so much more. So that will go to one lucky winner at the end of this month. And when we reach 8,000 subscribers, like I said, I'll be giving away some cool New York Jets memorabilia, baby. So it's going to be pretty sweet. And we have a lot of other fun giveaways. Behind me here is a bunch of items that are going to be gifted away for some of those subscriber milestones. And there's some fun stuff in there, including some Boy Green history stuff and Jet stuff. I mean, there's everything back there. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. Again, we got 500 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. We're going to open up the phone lines next here on National Championship Monday. We got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, baby, and Ohio State. You can see, look at this. I'm in the full gear, baby. I'm in the full gear. Our audio-only listeners can't see it, but we're in the full Notre Dame Irish gear, baby. I'm fired up. No radio show today, so I will not be on the radio here in Syracuse. Also, the weather is terrible. We're in a winter warning all the way through Wednesday afternoon, so fingers crossed for everyone who's dealing with snow weather advisories with incredibly cold temperatures and a lot of snow coming. So, again, first, everybody that is traveling, make sure you take your time driving all over the place. Why don't we do this? We'll open up the phone lines, and up next, we will take your phone calls right here on Boy Green Daily.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Up the steep. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. The New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. You're talking Jets football, man.
And Hep is a legend, baby. One of the Hep songs which all fires us up. And soon enough, by the way, just real quick, screw the Buffalo Bills. Mark Andrews, hold on to the gosh darn football. Dom C was talking about buttery hips. What about buttery hands, man? Come on, Mark Andrews. What the hell, man? And who knows, there's a minute and change left. Maybe Buffalo just wins the game anyway. But I would have liked to see what that would have looked like. Well, the Buffalo Bills will lose the Chiefs this week anyway. I'm a massive Chiefs fan. Chiefs Kingdom, let's go, baby. Take out the Buffalo Bills. Good Lord have mercy. Unbelievable. And Josh Allen whining for, like, flags. It's just pathetic, man. He's like, oh, flag, oh. Like, on this one play, it was like 3rd and 6, and it was either Dalton Kincaid or Dawson Knox caught the ball short of the line of scrimmage and got pile-driven into the ground. And Josh Allen's like, but if you want a first down, get a first down. Stop whining for extra crap. Oh, God, Josh Allen is incredibly unlikable. Anywho, that's just me on a mini rant there. Go Chiefs, baby. Go Chiefs Kingdom. All right, let's go back to the phone lines, baby. We got our boy Hep here on the show on a Monday. What's going on, Hep?
Hey, Paul, buttery hips, in the immortal words of King Lowski, calm your freaky down.
That's well said. Well said. There was a lot of zoinks. There was a lot of hoo-ah to that buttery hips comment. Good for Dom C. I like the vernacular. Yeah.
I'm curious about who Dom has in his who Dom is targeting for the Jets' first pick.
Yeah, he's been a little hesitant, I would say, for lack of a better word, because the Jets coaching staff isn't in, so he hasn't wanted to put his stake down yet, which, again, hopefully we get that this week. There's been a lot of noise that maybe we'll get both the GM and HC this week, and then all of a sudden, I think a lot of those conversations will get a lot more solid. So hopefully we get some of that, too, and then we can start doing our mock drafts here on the channel, which I'm looking forward to.
Okay, well, happy anniversary to Mom and Dad, and go Irish. See ya.
There you go, baby. Love it. Love it, Hep. Yes, go Irish, baby. Again, 32-year anniversary to my parents. So God bless. Shout out to my mom and dad. 32 years. I turned 32 in a couple of months. Like I said, I'm sure that's a coincidence. Anywho, let's go back to the phone lines. NY Jets FL here's here on the show. What's up, buddy?
Morning, Paul. A little chilly here today. I know Syracuse has your kind of cold, but we have our 48-degree gusty wind Florida
I
cold.
see.
When it was 70 degrees
yes.
the other day. Hey, Paul. Out
Yeah.
of everything, there's a lot of things to cover in the playoffs that happen. But I wrote down 3 names that I think are critical to the kind of team I think we need to build. To me, the most dominant players in the playoffs were Will Anderson, Jared Verse, and Jordan Davis. Okay? You need these kind of guys in the playoffs to make the defensive stops, especially in the inclement weather, because not every game's going to be in a dome. We don't have that. Quinnen is not. I don't think Quinnen's that kind of. It could be if he has a partner, right? You kind of left him on an island. But the Mason Grahams of the world and things like that, we really need to shore up our line, and that Jordan Davis has stopped, sealed the game for them, for the Eagles, right? I mean, his sack, whatever he did, tackle for loss, like I got to remember the plays.
I think it was a sack on Stafford that put him in the 4th and long play. Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, Paul. That's kind of where I'm going with the draft. I just, a wide receiver's flashy, but until we run stop and become dominant in the trenches, we're not going to be anything.
Now, I haven't heard someone use the term I'm about to use for defense, but I think it fits to what you're saying, NY Jets FL, and it's a go-get-a-bucket guy. It's a guy that can create his own shot. We talk about that a lot in basketball, but to your point on defense, a go-get-a-bucket. Hey, go close the bleeping game, man. And when you look at the Jets guys, you go to Will McDonald, who had flashes. I mean, 3-sack games, like, whoa, Will McDonald. But then he was invisible. There were games where he popped, certainly, and made a lot of pressures, but just didn't finish. Quinnen, to your same point, he goes on those same sort of invisible stretches, and Jermaine has some levels of inconsistency too. But I agree. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's that one last piece, maybe a Mason Graham, and then you have everybody healthy, and then everyone becomes, or they pass off who ends up being that guy. But 100%, you're seeing these guys that are dominant guys, and the other team knows they're dominant, and they're trying to do everything in their power to stop them, but they can't. That's your go-get-a-bucket guy on defense that desperately the Jets need. So I'll be kind of curious schematically, what do we do? Again, we've seen a lot of 4-3 and 3-4 of the Jets over the last 15 years of bouncing back and forth on different defenses. I'll be very curious to see the coaches that are hired, see what scheme we're running, and to see if we can unlock that again, because to be honest, as great as the defense has been, we haven't seen a lot of those kind of moments.
Perfectly said, Paul. And the Rams were smart enough, and Ricky's going to love this take. The Rams were smart enough to double down on Fisk and Verse, and and that you could see what that did for their defense, because their defense kept them in the game against that kind of Philadelphia type style. But I felt bad for Baltimore. I just don't know how they lost that game. They
shouldn't have lost. Think about everything. Mark Andrews fumble. He's trying to do too much. Mark Andrews dropped 2-point conversion. Again, the theme for me after the game, I'm by myself. I just said, man, they tried to do too much. Lamar, there was a high snap. He grabbed it, and he's trying to, just wiggle around, do too much. It's snow. It's weather. And his doing too much, the ball just drops out of his hands. Von Miller returns it 60 yards, and they punch it a touchdown. And then you have, again, everything was just too much. They were trying to do too much. And if you take away the turnovers, the Ravens crushed the Buffalo Bills. Instead, the Ravens painfully lose again. So, yeah, it's all on the turnovers, man. And the theme of it for me was doing too much. And I just feel sick. I'm not even a Ravens fan. I just feel sick. I can't even imagine if that was the Jets in that scenario and that's how they lose. That would be something I may never get over.
Yeah. Could be worse, right? That's all I got, Paul. Washington's going to the Super Bowl, by the way. So let's see how that works out. Fascinating. Yeah. All it takes is a great coach. And, Dan Quinn should have won a Super Bowl. Everyone says, he never won a Super Bowl. But that Tom Brady comeback is the only reason why. And then there may have been a lot of mistakes made in that game. But he should have a ring. So he's a great coach. And that's all I got, Paul. I'll let
I
other callers
appreciate
go
it.
in. You have a good luck tonight. Good luck tonight.
I appreciate it. Hey, we need it. NY Jets FL there. By the way, I just wanted to confirm, I was pretty sure in my NFL history, no rookie quarterback has ever made it to the Super Bowl, let alone potential win it. We know that as Jet fans. With Mark Sanchez getting to the doorstep and several others. Ben Roethlisberger, I think, got close. Jaden Daniels, obviously. It's here in the NFC Championship game. Eagles Commanders went 1-1 against each other during the season. So a rookie quarterback has never even made it to the Super Bowl. But this kid's moxie, again, I think we talked about it on one of the shows this week. It might have been yesterday, about he's never too high, he's never too low. Crazy touchdown happens, he's just Joe Cool. A back-breaking thing happens, which hasn't happened a lot for Washington this year. He's just calm, cool, collected. It is Have Mav 63 here says it's a Jaden Cinderella story. It absolutely is. It's been terrific. And wow, what a story. This Washington team is super fun. Look at how quickly they turned around. They won 4 games the year before. They hired Dan Quinn, who's in his first year as the head coach in this opportunity. Jaden Daniels, they've got some spunky talent on the team, and they flip it around and look at them. They're in the conference title game. So I think the message here for Jet fans is it doesn't have to take 10 years, man. You can turn things around very quickly. This Jets roster is very talented, but they didn't play like a team this year. Can you find a few pieces? Because there's going to be some mass exodus here. Hassan Reddicks and DJ Reeds and maybe even Jamian Sherwoods and all kinds of players on this team, offense, defense, are going to be exiting stage left. Alan Lazard. Does Rodgers come back? If Rodgers doesn't come back, Rodgers is gone. Devontae's gone. So, there's, again, a lot of hoopla there. But the motivation, the inspiration, quite frankly, for Jet fans should be that it doesn't take 12 years to rebuild a house. You could do that very quickly to see if that's going to be happening as well. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got our guy EZ here on the program. What's up, EZ?
Hey, Paulie, long time no call.
Yeah, that's right. It's good to have you back, man.
I've been a little disjointed. Just, kind of like a little apathetic towards the Jets right now. So I just needed to refresh this past weekend and a half. But I want to talk. Yeah. I want to talk about the current roster, like you just mentioned.
Sure. Yeah.
What will keep these defections from happening will be if they hire a damn good coach who they can respect.
Yes.
I keep going over it in my mind and going over it in my mind and going over it in my mind. And the only guy that I can see that could really bring instant respectability to the Jets is Rex, because he's done it before. He's done it before. He's got a proven record when he has decent roster players. He knows how to put them in the right positions to win. He knows which guys to pat on the back, and he knows which guys to give a boot in the ass.
Again, the person you have to convince is Woody Johnson. Obviously, Rex Ryan is Woody Johnson's ear. So,
well, that's the problem. Woody Johnson's a flaming idiot. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm talking when it comes to football. I mean, obviously, He's got $1 billion $1 trillion corporation, whatever, medical, but he just needs to just park his ego, which is kind of hard when you're a billionaire, you know. But he's got to park the ego and let the football people do what the football people do.
Hey, yeah, which would be nice, because that's what Washington did, it looks like, yeah.
And the other thing, well, that's because fucking Daniel Snyder's gone. That guy was, holy shit. He was the worst. He was the worst owner probably in the history of organized sports, besides the Dolans when they owned the Knicks for a long period of time.
Oh, yeah, that was awful, too, yeah.
But going back to quarterback.
Yeah.
The type of quarterback I want to see the Jets draft is I don't need to see some big 6'6" monster like Roethlisberger. I don't need to see some guy gunslinger with a rifle for an arm. I want to see a guy who, when he was in the college, was about 6'2", 6'3", about 215, 220. A guy who's accurate. I want a guy who is like pinpoint accurate with a quick release. That's the kind of guy I want to see them have. I don't care if he's got the big bomb arm or if he can throw really strong for an out pattern. They can all throw an out pattern. They can make all the throws and all that. That's a bunch of crap. I want the guy who throughout his entire career had under 10 interceptions, and more than 35 touchdowns and has a quick release. That's what I want. I want another Chad. I want a Chad Pennington is what I want.
Hey, I'd love a Chad Pennington. The Chad Pennington fathead is still over there in my hallway. I love Chad Pennington. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a rifle for an arm by any, but he was smart.
Not.
He was decisive, and he was accurate, short, and intermediate. That's what we need.
I agree. By the way, my father just asked, is Easy talking about his dating profile or a quarterback for the Jets? What's happening there?
Your dad's been hanging out on frickin' boats too often with sailors. I don't know where he's got that shit from.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Paul Sr., dial it down a notch, Paulie Sr. just a notch. I like women, okay? I'm a man. I like women. I'm hetero, okay?
There you go. Thank you for clarifying.
I mean, I wouldn't even date a wave. You know, I mean, come on. I like a woman who likes lipstick and rouge, and I like my I like my women slightly on the trashy side. I'm a metalhead. I grew up in the '80s where the girls were hot and they wore, fishnet stockings and all that crap. That's what I like.
Yeah, there you go.
The girls that are into heavy metal now are a bunch of fat, purple-haired lesbians. I mean, it's crazy.
Okay, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Yeah, man. I mean, just no. I like them about 5'4", 5'5", 120 pounds, nice ass, long legs. That's what I like.
All right, there you go. Oh my gosh! Wow. Hey, by the way, the Saints. I'm hoping we're getting these notifications for the Jets. The Saints have moved on to the second round of their head coaching interviews. In the best segue I could possibly do here on the show. Tom Pelissero shared this morning the New Orleans Saints are bringing in Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver for a second interview, which means he's a finalist. Tom Pelissero added this, quote, Weaver impressed in multiple interviews with Washington and Atlanta last year and now is in the final round again. Let's go to another one here. The New Orleans Saints are flying in New York Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka for a second interview to be their head coach for their head coaching gig. Kafka has been a finalist for 3 jobs in the past 2 cycles. Now a longer look in New Orleans, end quote. The good news for Jet fans as well, none of those guys the Jets are looking at, so enjoy. So if they hire either of those 2 guys, those aren't Jet guys, which means a potential Aaron Glenn landing spot is gone. Those are the only 2 finalists at this point. I'm keeping an eye on Twitter just in case if any of you guys see anything. Obviously, share it here on the channel. But we're hoping for Jet notifications on their finalists, both for head coach ultimately and general manager. Which we have not seen yet either. So again, those are the 2 finalists currently. There may be more, but those are the 2 finalists for the Saints job right now. Anthony Weaver Jr., the Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator, and Mike Kafka, the New York Giants offensive coordinator. Which, to be honest, we've had a lot of Jets like, what? They're looking at Mike Loxley? That's sort of weird. Like, no one's really looking at Mike Kafka. I don't think anyone else gave Mike Kafka a head coaching interview outside of the Saints. So, obviously, they march to a beat of their own drum here. And Conor Longo is like, ugh, those are ugly names. Hey, baby, sign them up, Saints. That works out better for the Jets for all the candidates that the New York Jets are looking at. So, that works for me, baby. That works for me. So, again, both of those are coming in. Shout out to Tom Pelissero with the scoop on both of those individuals. The thing we're hoping for today is that the Jets get an update here. Let's play a couple of clips here. We got a couple of updates. Shout out to Jake Asman, a.k.a. Jakey, who had Brian Costello of the New York Post on. And he had a couple of updates here. Let's go to this one. I'll throw this one up here in just a minute. Long story short, we all have kind of assumed, like, oh, obviously the Jets are going to hire a GM before they hire a head coach. Maybe the only difference could have been potentially Mike Vrabel because of the power and gravitas that he has. That maybe you'd hire him. Someone like him first before the GM because of, again, everything that he brings to the table, potentially. There are some people who have had that conversation. But with him off the board, obviously, he's gone to the New England Patriots. Like, is there anyone else the Jets potentially would have done that for? That's been kind of a question we've all been kind of kicking around. And most of us said, Well, no, it was Vrabel or really nothing in terms of that conversation. But apparently not. Apparently there is a chance that the Jets actually hire their head coach first before their GM. Brian Costello told Jay Gasman. Again, he didn't have any he didn't speak with the Jets about it, but he said it was sort of a feeling. Why don't we do this? We're going to play this clip. This is from the Jake Asman show on 8:80 a.m. ESPN New York last night. Brian Costello of the New York Post joined Jake Asman and talked about the possibility of the Jets potentially going 8C before GM.
Brian, do you think the Jets are going to hire a GM first, then a coach? Because I always thought, unless it was Mike Vrabel, they'd want to have a GM hired, and then that GM would have some say on who the head coach he'd be working with.
Yeah, I thought that too, Jake. I think the Lions' loss last night kind of changed the thinking, for me at least. I haven't talked to the Jets about it at all, but they, now are the Aaron Glenn sweepstakes going to heat up quickly? Is someone going to make a move on him quickly? I think if I'm Aaron Glenn, I'm taking my time here and playing all these teams against each other to get the best contract possible, because seems like he's going to be wanted in a few places. So I don't think he's going to be in any rush to get this done quickly. But, that's the situation now where could the head coach be hired before the GM? I kind of thought the GM was going to be hired this week. The GM then would be in on the coaching interviews. I thought the GM might even be in place by now. I thought this was kind of the time where the GM could be hired and then sit in on the coaching interviews, but it hasn't happened. So it feels like these two tracks are kind of moving together at parallel time. But the Jets do not want to have the complete arranged marriage like they had with Mike McCagnon and Todd Bowles. That did not work, where they hired both of them at the same time. They really had no history. So I got to think the Jets are talking to these people about who they've worked with before, who they think they could work with again, and not. So it's a little bit of an arranged marriage, right? Like I don't think it's going to necessarily be guys that are working in the same organization together, but maybe they know each other, maybe they've shared an agent, maybe they've worked together in the past. But I do think there's a chance here the coach could be hired at the same time as the GM, or maybe even before the GM.
No, baby. We'll see if the Aaron Glenn attraction continues. We have a YouTube Super Chat here. Every time we get a YouTube Super Chat, my daughter Zariah Luna chimes in.
Wow.
J. Taylor 1018. Maybe the Saints know Aaron Glenn is coming here. LOL. I like the cut of your jib, J. Taylor 1018. Maybe they get a sense and they're just like, never mind. And then they go in a different direction. Maybe. Again, I just want to repeat this. I've said this before. I said it yesterday. I don't give a shit what happened in the Lions-Commanders game. I enjoyed the game as a fan, casual, no real strings attached. But I don't give a shit that the Lions defense gave up 1 billion points. Look at the bleeping turnovers that the Lions gave with Jared Goff picks and turnovers and Jameson Williams throwing a pick, Ben Johnson getting cute. I'm not saying Aaron Glenn is absolved of some of the issues that happened in that game, but that's not going to sway my opinion on whether or not he should be the Jets head coach. I was a Aaron Glenn guy before. I'm an Aaron Glenn guy after. And I know Jakey had a hot rant on 8:80 a.m. ESPN New York of why should Aaron Glenn be the guy. But I think it's inherently unfair to say, Aaron Glenn, hey, sorry, you're a first-time defensive guy. You're Robert Saleh. What is Aaron Glenn to Robert Saleh? To me, I think those are unfair comps to make. Not every first-time defensive coordinator is just the same Robert Saleh kind of guy. So I push back on that. And then, like I said, to me, one game is not going to change my. If he was awesome, that wouldn't have changed my opinion. That would have made me feel more confident, I guess, but it wouldn't have swayed me one way or the other if I was in the middle on the Aaron Glenn train and one game shows it. For good, bad, or ugly, no one should be judged on that one game. And where was everyone in Week 18 when Sam Darnold, the promised prince, got shut down by that Aaron Glenn defense? Where was everyone there? I think that's a worthy conversation to have here as well for that. Here on the conversation. So yeah, maybe you're right, Jay Taylor. Maybe we know that Aaron Glenn's coming, but I'm not scared off on the Aaron Glenn train one iota based on what happened over the weekend. I see Phil saying we need an offensive coach. I'm not just going to hire an offensive coach just because he's an offensive coach. I think that's a bad process. You should not hire people like that. If an offensive guy happens to be the best guy, then God bless. But I'm not just hiring an offensive guy just because his name tag says offense. I don't think that's a good way to do it. Connor Long here saying my top three are Brian Flores number 3, Aaron Glenn number 2, Josh McCown number 1. Josh McCown is a risky hire if they do it. I'm sure that would be, again, it's going to get a lot of visceral reactions from fans. We'll see how serious it is when these finalists come in here. That'll be compelling. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. And it looks like, is this ChristianMingle.com? Did Neil set his profile to experienced people only? Or what the hell? Neil, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, look,
Okay.
at least I'm not looking for something like easy. I'm not looking for a date. He's looking for, he's got his dating profile. Your father threw a bomb in that one. That was beautiful. I got to tell you, it's hysterical. Your father, he's a quit. I'll tell you, he's a kick.
He's quick-witted.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, excuse me.
Yeah.
Choking on my morning cigar over here.
Of course.
I'm much healthier than I appear when I start hacking away, with my morning cigar.
I believe that. Yeah.
I'm doing my 30-day, whenever I go on these YouTube channels, I have that 30-day, the guy interrupts, the commercial, the ad. I started doing that 30-day chair exercise. You ever see that?
Yeah.
It's excellent. I got to tell you something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm on like 18 days. I got to tell you something. I feel great with it. It's great. I'm a walker, but it's hard to go out and walk along a lot when it's 5 degrees and a lot of snow out there.
That is accurate. That's a good point.
But I recommend it for guys over 50.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's a 7-minute little chair exercise. It seems really like easy. It's not easy. It's not. And I'm gonna tell you something. It works all the muscles, and it's really great. Anyway, so I highly recommend that, and I also highly recommend that we stop thinking about Aaron Glenn. I don't want Aaron Glenn. Please.
Oh, Neil.
Do you see my headline? Experience. Do you see the word experience?
I see that. Yeah, experience.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to want experience when you have guys like Ed Ziff, talking about Phil Parcells and me. Some of us were a little, we could seem to be a little out of it. But when it comes to coaching, you have to have experience. I just don't understand why we're not interviewing McCarthy. I mean, he's just
I don't get. I don't get, and we should be 100%. I'm 100% in agreement.
Come on.
How do you not?
McCarthy.
How do you not talk to the guy? Yeah.
And again, you gotta look at Gruden. I mean, if you want an offensive-minded guy, you got to go with Gruden. You got to look at Gruden, and it's mind-boggling to me. I'll tell you who did an amazing job of all the games over the weekend. The Bills OC, the play caller.
Yeah, Joe Brady. Yeah.
I got to tell you something. Joe Brady, he has Josh Allen playing a totally different level of quarterback. I mean, if there was anybody that has really stood out and made a super big impression on a team, everybody talks about what Minnesota did with Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
What this guy Brady did with Allen is really amazing. I mean, if you look back at his games before this guy came on, he was a turnover machine, Paul.
Yes.
He was throwing that long bomb to
reckless. Yeah.
Long bombs, big mistakes.
Yeah.
Brady had a focused game plan. He kept the Ravens on their heels the entire game. I got to tell you, man, I would not be disappointed with him. I would not be disappointed if we went in. And
we have to see if he takes the interview. The Jets are.
I know that's
him, but we've heard nothing yet. Yeah,
right.
Which is odd. Yeah,
I'm not in a rush to go run after Aaron Glenn. Sorry, I'm not.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you the biggest problem I have. All the players want him.
Oh, the players on the Jets you're talking about?
They love him.
Oh, yeah.
I want Aaron Glenn so I can continue to listen to my hip-hop in the locker room and not work. I don't want to work. I want to sit down and do the usual things and high-five everybody. Come on. We need discipline, Paul. We need a disciplinarian. We need a guy with experience that's above the fray. Aaron Glenn is too much like the players. He's not the guy that's going to lead the players. That's just my opinion. I don't see it. I just
He's
don't
a Bill
see it.
Parcells guy, you know?
I
There's got
don't
to be
care
some
if he's
discipline in
Bill
there.
Parcells guy. Look, everybody comes from a Bill. There's a lot of players, coaches that come from a Parcells tree and are not worth their weight. It's an individual job.
Yes.
Head coach is CEO. That's the difference. Okay. You could be a great coordinator. Doesn't make you a great head coach.
That's true.
I'll take
100%
Flores
true.
over him. Look, gun to my head. If we're not going to interview McCarthy, if we're not going to interview Pete Carroll, another layup, wants to come back to coaching. I mean, are you kidding me? These are guys with an established track record. Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Gruden, Super Bowl. McCarthy, Super Bowl.
Correct.
Carroll, Super Bowl. Aaron Glenn, fake spike. Enough. What the hell's Aaron Glenn done? Come on. Paul, I know the young guys. They all want the young guys in there, and I get it. And I get that football's changed and the whole thing. But one thing that isn't changing, and that is when a guy wins, you know, when you think about it, right? Super Bowl is such a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how hard it is to get to a Super Bowl, let alone win a Super Bowl, right?
Difficult.
The Buffalo Bills are still looking for it. You know, they haven't had it yet.
No,
and you
never.
think about it, when a coach has won a Super Bowl, like Carroll and the three I mentioned, you got to put them on a different pedestal. Because when I'm giving a message as a CEO and I'm telling you what it was like to win the Super Bowl,
that's credibility,
out
man,
there,
for sure.
And you're out there sitting in, you know what I'm trying to say? When you're trying to get a team to buy into into what you want to do, it certainly carries a lot more weight, Paul, when the guy delivering the message won a goddamn Super Bowl.
That helps.
All right? That's what you want. Guys to buy in. You don't want buddies. Aaron Glenn looks like a buddy to me. Who was another buddy? Let's think. Oh, Mr. Salah. Who's my buddy? Oh, boy. Let's go out together. I really like. You did great. Oh, Reddick, I'm so glad to see you here. You're one of the best stars. You're a great example for football all around. Enough said. Have a great day, Paul. There's my take.
I love it, Neil. Thank you. Experience only. Yeah, on the Super Bowl, guys, I would just say this. The Jets have not interviewed, Mike McCarthy's, Pete Carroll's, John Gruden's. And apparently, according to Brian Costello, he was telling Jakey this last night on 880 AM ESPN radio. So Pete Carroll apparently wasn't interested in returning back to the Jets, if you're to believe Kaz. Rich Cimini reported that Mike McCarthy would like to interview with the Jets, but the feeling wasn't mutual. Brian Costello said that's not what he heard. He heard that Mike McCarthy would not be interested in speaking with the Jets. So, again, there's a lot of conflicting reports here. Again, don't get me wrong. I'd be all for the Jets talking to Mike McCarthy. That'd be beneficial. Talk to as many people as you can. I love it. Yes. It doesn't sound like they're going to. It sounds like the Jets have reached the end of the head coach locomotive. Unless Joe Brady takes the interview with the Jets, which we're unsure if he's going to. He's been requested. There's been no news of the request. Was it denied? Was it just left out there in the middle? That is TBD. We don't know. But he's the last one left. The Jets have interviewed 16 candidates to become the next head coach of the New York Jets. 16. Joe Brady would be 17 if he follows through on the interview request, which, again, at this point, we're uncertain of. But, let me see. Before we get back to the phone lines are open. That is youtube.com/boygreen25. Let's go to Alan here. Boy Green, I wish after all this is done, the 33rd team would be transparent on who rejected an interview from the jump. I bet it's more than you think. I mean, if an interview was rejected, it normally comes out. Like, for instance, Brian Griese, the 49ers quarterback coach, told the Jets to pack it. That news will come out. I don't think we need it from the 33rd team. That news will come out from other people. But interestingly, a caller, it was Ira from Staten Island, he called Mike Tannenbaum on the radio with Anita Marks and Amani Toomer, I think it was yesterday morning. And Ira, I wish he just would have asked the question point blank to Tanny, about why the Jets were not going to speak with Mike McCarthy. He brought up like, oh man, it's so weird we're not speaking to Mike McCarthy. I said, oh, perfect. Ira, ask him. And then he didn't ask him. He went in a different direction with his question. I'm like, son of a gun, that would have been good to hear from Tannenbaum. We'll see if he would have given a straight answer. Not, hey, why aren't you guys talking to Mike McCarthy? And then see what answer would have done. NY Jets FL says, please read my comment, Boy Green. NY Jets FL. Sean McVay, such a prolific pass rusher. Neil, you're delusional. I don't know if that's a comment you were talking about, NY Jets FL, but you guys can keep sending those in. Feel free, and we'll get those. I know a lot of people are very extreme. I want Aaron Glenn. I don't want Aaron Glenn. Hopefully, we just start finding out the finalists here shortly. Again, both for GM and HC. Again, in case you're just joining us, we got nearly 800 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe, baby. Also, those Boy Green Coffee Club memberships, keep those flowing. You can join the Boy Green Coffee Club in the YouTube description down below, or gift memberships if you're watching on YouTube. Feel free to do so. 2 finalists have emerged for the Saints head coaching job. Anthony Weaver Jr., the Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator, and Mike Kafka, the New York Giants offensive coordinator. Both of those individuals are flying into New Orleans for their finalist head coach interviews. Normally there's 3 or 4 guys, so there might be more coming potentially for New Orleans. Connor Long says, BG, it's being reported Joe Brady didn't have enough time to interview with the Jets last week, so now we'll see if they fit him in this week. We'll see if that's true. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got a cup of Philly noodles here. What's up, Philly?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, boy, I saw you seem to really be agreeing and vibing with what Neil was saying there, yeah.
Dude, I had to come into the IT room just to voice my opinion without getting fired.
Sure.
Listen, I love Neil, okay? Me and Neil have had back and forths. You cannot tell me in 2025 that the locker room is not bumping rap music, whether it's practice, a win, a loss. These guys are gelling. If they're not gelling, then what the hell are they doing? I don't want a band of guys who are like, oh, bro, I'm sorry I bumped into you. Oh, excuse me, man. Oh, sorry. I'll see you later, bro. Yeah, I'll see you at the coffee break. Get the out of here, bro. 2025, these guys are chopping it up, bullshitting. They're making TikTok videos in Buffalo. Where's Joe Brady doing? His best lineman. You know, that guy that talks a lot of shit. He's making TikTok videos with other guys. Singing. Yeah, they're singing in the locker room. Neil, they're singing, and they're singing praises to the AFC Championship game. Stop. That's camaraderie. What the is wrong? You can't be that old and have a cigar that fucking long ruin your brain. Like, come on, man. Stop it. This is not 1932 with leather helmets and get that ball past the rock. Like, come on, man. We're in 2025. Cut the shit. Now I'm getting pissed. Like, let's be that's delusional bullshit. We're in 2025. Guys are gonna gel. Let them gel. Guess what? Aaron was kumbaya. He wants Aaron so bad, but he was kumbaya. He was all high and mighty, high on life, bro. Are you fucking kidding? And he loved Aaron Rodgers. This man is the symbol of peace and love and unity, brother. Kiss my ass with that shit. Bro, absolutely retarded, bro. Aaron Glenn, wow. if he can get the best out of our team, shit, I'll take him. Whoever can.
Sure. Yeah.
If Joe Brady could, cool. But we're not hanging that hat on what Neil's talking about. Listen, I love Neil. He's great. But no, bro, that was crazy, that take. As soon as I heard rap music, I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? What does it got to be like jazz? What do we need, Frank Sinatra in the locker room? What the fuck are we doing, bro? What are we talking about here? We're talking about practice? Like AI.
And also, the quick follow-up on Neil's thing that I just didn't understand, just because it seems like Jet players are for Aaron Glenn, I don't think that just means, oh, cool, so we could keep being lazy. I don't think that's it at all. Aaron Glenn is going to bring his own flavor. We'll see. Is it successful or not? I don't know. It's coordinator roulette. That's the trademark quote that Joe Caprosa said the other week. Yep. Coordinators fail. coordinators succeed? It's sort of a random lucky guess. You're interviewing them. You're trying to see if you could vet some tangible quality, or like, you know what, this guy has it, this guy doesn't. But ultimately, there's coordinators that flop. There's coordinators that succeed. I don't know. That's sort of the game you play.
I got to feel good about knowing we brought a bunch of candidates, right? Because you want to know something that's very in particular. You don't need a lot of pundits to tell you which defender is good or not coming out of college, right? Usually that's like a thing. He's got the stats. He padded it through college. He's probably going to be pretty good. You know where you need that help? Usually in the QB room. So if you're interested in Brian Greasy, he was not going to be the head coach. Come on, they're not that stupid. Yeah. Joe Brady, who's he coaching right now? To me, that makes me think they want to know who would you draft out of this class, or what are you doing? You skipping? You're skipping these guys, right? Because we just want to make sure, because you can cast a wide net and to get a theory of what's out there. It's the whole point. He did this and blew it up in the middle of the season for a reason. Once we knew that they were not Super Bowl bound, Woody was like, now I'm pissed because I was bought under the belief of all this bullshit and it failed. So he fired everybody on purpose. So he said, okay, I want a big ass net. I'm hiring these guys who help that franchise. Let's see what we can do. If you're interviewing 6 offensive minded head coaches or coaches and they go, there's really nothing in the draft, why would you take that guy?
It's a good point.
For a head coach, what's he going to do?
Yeah, that's not an entirely inspiring if you're getting those kind of answers, you know.
Am I leaving Josh Allen to go to the Jets for what?
Yeah.
For Aaron? No, you're not doing it for Aaron Rodgers. You're doing it if you're like, okay, Drew Allar is the next Josh Allen, but that kid's not coming out.
No, he's not. Yet, right? He's gone back. Yeah, I think that's official. He's gone back to school.
So are you gonna pull? Are they gonna pull the Milroe button? Maybe somebody goes, yo, Milroe might be it. Okay, so then now you might put that guy as a finalist because he thinks he can get it done with that kid in 2 years, right? Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Cliff Kingsbury was like, Jaden Daniels, bro, I'm letting you know, I can get it done.
Yeah, and look at him.
And look at him. So there you go. Hire Cliff.
Thank
Neil.
We'll see if that interview goes through.
Ooh, well, my cup of tea exploded, bro. Come on.
There it is. Philly Noodles joining us here on the show. Boy, Neil certainly stirs some reactions from the crowd. I can only respect it. Okay, just confirming we didn't get any finalist news on the show so far today. All right, enjoy the national championship game tonight, everybody. It should be a real hoot. Go Irish, baby. Thanks, everybody, for calling in. Appreciate it. Again, another reminder, we've got 2 contests going on right now. First off, every gifted membership that you guys either purchase for yourself or for your neighbor, you get a raffle ticket to our contest. We're giving away a Nike Atmosphere Aaron Rodgers Heather Gray jersey at the end of the month to one lucky person that gifted a membership. So obviously, if you gifted one, you have a chance in the contest. The more raffle tickets you have, the better shot you have. Austrian Jet Fan has 163 of these raffle tickets for Pete's sake, with another 10, 11 days to go here in the month. So the more chance you have, the better. If you have one ticket, you have a chance. And here it is. And here's something for free for, again, not everyone is in the financial position. We have to subscribe to my channel is free. FREE. If you would like to subscribe and spread the gospel, when we reach 8,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a autographed piece of New York Jets memorabilia that's been autographed by 2 former New York Jets first-round draft choices, and I'm throwing a T-shirt in as well to the giveaway. That is for free. Subscribing to the channel is absolutely free. So get your friends, get your fellow Jet fans, your family members. Share out the YouTube link, which is youtube.com/boygreen25. Again, once we reach 8,000 subscribers, which again, it's free to subscribe to the channel, we'll be giving that away to a lucky subscriber. And again, old and new subscribers are all eligible for this contest. So I'm very much looking forward to it, to giving back to all of you guys. So again, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That gives you your best opportunity excuse me, to do it. So at the start of business, we're at like 7,200 subscribers, somewhere in that ballpark. Again, once we get to 8K, we'll be giving that away. And then as we reach other big milestones, hopefully on the path to 10,000 subscribers, we'll be giving out even more stuff as well. So let's freaking go, baby. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the national championship game tonight, and we'll be back on tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily. Take care, everybody.